Hi guys, it's Kevin Al from Infinite Wealth here. On today's video, we're going to go over part 3 of how to build a portfolio for your TSP account.
Where did you...
Hi guys, it's part 3 on the TSP series, and today we're going to actually start building your portfolio. If you haven't watched part 1 or part 2, you might want to go back. Part 1 is selecting your asset allocation. That accounts for about 80% of your portfolio returns. And then part 2, I go through the different investment choices that are available on your TSP. Today in part 3, I'm going to teach you how to build your own custom portfolio that's set up to meet your risk tolerances and your future goals. And then finally in part 4, to conclude this series, the next video will teach you about the investment policy statement, how to do back testing, and how to rebalance your portfolio to make sure that your asset allocation stays correct. What I've done for the next part of the video is I've set up several different asset allocation examples. We're just going to jump on the computer. I'm going to show you how I came about them, and then I'm going to show you how to calculate your own. Alright, on to portfolio construction. Here I made several examples of some TSP asset allocations. In all the examples I used a 70% US, 30% international for stock portion split. You can use your own percentages and easily calculate to fit your own situation. I will show you how to calculate on an easy one, the first one, and then I'll also show you as they get more difficult, but the calculation is the same. So the first portfolio would be Core 3. So this would be a riskier portfolio, remember, because it has higher percentage of stocks. So this one has 80% stocks, 20% bonds. And since it's 80% stocks times 0.7, because I said we were going to do 70% domestic, that's where you get your 56%. So I have 80% stocks, 70% of the 80 is 56%, so you just take 80 times 0.7. And then for international, you take 80 times your 0.3. You should have 24, and then your check is, that should add up to 80. 56 plus 24 is 80. And then for bond portion, we just use the F fund, which is the general bond fund. That's 20%. Next example would be 70% stock, 30% bond. So C fund, you have 49%, I fund 21%, F fund 30%. And then you can look, as the bonds go up, your percentages and stocks go down, so you can just calculate those all accordingly. Now the TSP does not have a total market fund. Our next portfolio we'll go over is the U.S. market approximation. As I've said before, the C fund is a S&P 500, which is the 500 largest companies in the United States. A lot of people try to approximate a total market allocation with the TSP. Do some research, the numbers vary a little bit, but what I found works good is 82% into C and 18% into S fund. And the S are the smaller companies. So if you remember on our last example, 80% stock, 20% bonds, your C fund was 56. Then we're going to take it times 0.82 for 82%. That gets 45.92. You'll have to round. You can't do decimals on the TSP. So I rounded to 46%, 10% S, and then the I and the F are the same. Then I did that same calculation for 70-30. So that comes out 40% C, 9% S. Same calculation for 60-40 and 50-50. Now the next portfolio I'm doing, it's just getting a little more complicated than the previous one, where I'm splitting your bond portion of the portfolio. So I'm doing 66% into the F fund, and that's your general bond fund, and then 33% into the G fund. So for that one, you just take 20 times 0.66 and you get 13. And then 20 times 0.33, you get 7 after you round. So those two do add up to 20. Whole portfolio adds up to 100. So this one will give you an 80% stock, 20% bonds, but you have 46% C, 10% S, 24% I, 13% F, 7% G. Did the same calculation for 70-30. That gave you 20% F, 10% G. Then on your 60-40, you have 26% F, 14% G. And then on your 50-50, you have 33% F, 17% G. So depending on your age and your risk tolerance to increase your long-term returns, you can do several different things. You can increase the percentage of the S fund, you can increase the percentage of the I fund, or you can increase or decrease the amount of G fund in your portfolio. Next up, I'm going to go through my personal TSP portfolio just to let you know what I'm doing and why I made the decisions I did. We've had our TSP account for 40 months now, and we have just passed the $100,000 mark. So now what I'm teaching you, it does work. It's very simple. Now the market has went up significantly in the last 3.5 years, so that's part of why we have so much in our TSP. But the consistent investment in good times and bad is what makes this work, and you just stick to the plan. So just again, another reminder, it fits my personal risk tolerance and situation. Probably not right for you. We run a 70% stock, 30% bond. I tilt the portfolio to small caps to increase long-term returns. So I increase the S fund to 15%. And I put the remainder in the C fund. I use a 65% US, 35% international split on the stock. You can use an international percentage range from 15% to 60% for your portfolio. For the bond portion, I have a 25% G fund and 75% F fund. For the bond portion, you can have G fund from 0% to 50% of the bond portion. So we have a 70% stock, 30% bond. For US domestic equity, we have 46% total. So if you take 70 times 0.65 is where you get the 46. I set the S fund at 15% because I tilt for small. And then you take 46 minus 15, you get the 31% for the C. International is set at 24%. The G fund is set at 7. I rounded down. The calculation at 25% of 30 is 7.5. So I just rounded that down to 7. And then the F fund is 23. Thank you so much for watching the video today. I hope you learned a lot about asset allocation, how to build your own personalized portfolio for your TSP. I really appreciate you sticking around for the video this long. Leave a comment below, like the video, subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it so much. I have a lot more videos coming in the next couple months.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face. Tell me that you love me, even if it's fake.